Hello everyone, Tom French here to talk to you about the Green Book today. In the past I mentioned about looking into the definitions and knowing definitions. If we know the definitions, it's going to help us navigate and understand the Green Book much better. So the first definition I want to talk about is the employer. Employer means a person who employs one or more workers or contracts for the service one or more workers and includes a contractor or subcontractor. Some small companies think if they contract it out, they're no longer responsible. This means you're still the employer, so you're still responsible for them to follow the policies and the regulations. A definition for a supervisor means a supervisor who has charge of the workplace or authority over the workers. So we do hear them called different names, team leads, lead hands, there's all kinds of different terminologies. But a supervisor is a person that has charge of the workplace or authority over the workers. So this opens up the regulations to a supervisor has to have certain responsibilities. Now also the word or. The word or in the regulations states that it can be any one of the items mentioned. Okay, so authority over the worker or charge of the workplace. Okay. The definition for a worker means a person who performs work or supplies services for a monetary compensation. Monetary compensation. A lot of us just think, well, that's money. It actually is anything worth money. Okay. So also an employee is a secondary student, performs work or supplies services for non-monetary compensation under the work experience program through the high schools. So this would be your co-op students. This is important. They're considered a worker, so we have to train them to the same level of all of our workers in the workplace. So they have to be fully trained on all the hazards and how to protect themselves. Also, a worker is a person who performs work or supplies services for non-monetary compensation under the program approved by colleges or universities. So that would be your interns and again, co-op students. So co-op students and interns are also considered workers. So they have to be trained to the same level that every other worker in your workplace is trained to. Industrial establishment, definition means an office, building, factory, arena, shop, or land, building, or structure appertaining there too. So anywhere where work is being done. And a factory, which I found interesting when I first started to learn about this, is a factory is a building or a place other than a mine or mining plant, or a place where homework is carried on, where any manufacturing process or assembly in connecting with a manufacturing of any goods or products are carried out. So any place other than a mine where we are working. And this does bring in actually our grocery stores and our coffee shops and that. So I was surprised initially whenever I started looking at definitions years ago that they were part of industrial. A workplace means a land, premise, location, or thing at or upon or in or near where workers work. Thing. What would that be? Well, if I use my personal vehicle as a company vehicle and doing work while I'm in my personal vehicle, this opens up the fact that I have to follow company policies and the law. So there would be no smoking in my vehicle. There may be, if we have a policy of no devices, that I wouldn't be able to use my cell phone in my company vehicle. So that does open up a few things there because of the word thing. A competent person definition is qualified because of the knowledge, training, experience, able to organize their work and its performance. Okay. Familiar with the regulations and how they apply to the workplace and the potential and actual dangers in the workplace. The second point there, familiar with the act and the regulations. So we need to be familiar and understand what we can and can't do in the workplace. We don't have to know word for word or the section subsection, but we have to be aware of what we're allowed to do and not do. And also this one here, it says familiar with the act and the regulations and how it applies to the workplace and has knowledge of the potential and actual dangers. The word and carries a lot of weight. It means all three have to be there. And we're usually pretty good with item 1. We have training, knowledge, and experience. Item 2, that's where we fall apart a little bit. We don't know the regulations well enough. And of course, we usually know the hazards. So who do we want to be competent, people in the workplace. Now, ideally, if everybody was competent, that'd be fantastic. But some people, by law, have to be competent by this law. So, our tradespeople, well, they're trained and they write exams, so they're competent through their trade training. Supervisors, it states that supervisors have to be competent. So, a supervisor has to be knowledgeable on the regulations and the hazards in the workplace. Definition for a certified member. The committee member is certified by training under section 7.6. Well, in 7.6, it states the Minister of Labor will lay out the training. Well, currently, if you have 20 or more workers, you have to have 2 certified members. The training for those 2 certified members minimum is a 3-day part 1 and a 2-day part 2 training with an exam. Now, the Minister of Labor can lay out more training if it's necessary for those certified members in your workplace. Definition for prescribed means prescribed by a regulation under this Act. So you'll see in some of the regulations, they'll say as prescribed. And one of them is information, instruction, and supervision as prescribed. So depending on what industry you're in, of course, we have to give people their training and information. So in construction, it's mandatory that we have a risk assessment and we have a rescue plan. That is prescribed. Inspector, the definition of inspector is inspector appointed for the purpose of this Act. So that's the Ministry of Labor inspectors that drop around to your workplaces and train us on the regulations and help us keep safe and keep everybody out of harm's way. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can email me at safetyboy31@gmail.com. Also, if you think this will help somebody else, tell a friend. And always, let's be safe out there.